What you think about that boy Shedeur doing that pantomiming situation? And for those who don't know, the Browns put Joe Flacco on the bench. They're going to start Dillion Gabriel. I would like to remind you that I told you guys Shedeur Sanders is going to get to start at some point because everybody else is terrible, but he's still the third string quarterback. And so he was asked about it, and he moved his lips and no words came out. And that is exactly what happened. He acted like he pantomimed talking to the media.
It would have been better if that was you just like a figure of speech, like when quarterbacks do quarterback speak and essentially they're moving their lips but not actually saying anything. Like Shador should have done that. I don't know, man. Like
that was a great time for quarterback speech. Just gonna keep on chopping wood, baby.
Yeah. Like I control what I can control. Like this is a message to me that I gotta be better. I know that my opportunity gonna come. I don't know, man. Like it's so many platitudes that you could have rolled out. Like I hate to be judgmental on these sorts of things. So like ultimately it probably won't have a major effect. I don't give a damn about it, but it does speak to how he is in that building, which is, again, I don't want to make too far of a leap, but it just like, if you're unwilling to say in that moment, man, I love my teammates. We just try and get a win. I do whatever I do to get support. Like, I don't know, the bullshit, or even say no comment. Just like that is, I don't know. It just feels like it draws attention and it opens yourself up unnecessarily to some bullshit.
Well, let me ask this question. What conversations have Jimmy Haslam and Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry had such that I don't really be hearing nobody talking about firing them? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that Jimmy Haslam's the one that's got to eat this because a big part of why they're here is they made one of the worst quarterback decisions of all time when they brought old nasty ass Deshaun Watson in and gave up the world and gave up all that money, right? That's part of how they ended up in the situation that they have now. They went and got Joe Flacco, which to me, knowing what we've known about this franchise since it came back to life in 1999, you did that because the fans like him. The fans enjoyed that year. So you knew you weren't going to be good. So you gave him a feel good. And then you tried to make some cheap plays underneath him to maybe get a quarterback. That's fine. I get all that. But that normally don't save nobody's job. Like, it is amazing. And I don't think any of this is necessarily Stefanski's fault. But if none of these young quarterbacks show that they got anything, then what are we saying here? Like, did he also not have to let the guy that couldn't quite get it right with Baker?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good point because normally you don't stick around if you've been this bad for this long. They snuck into the playoffs. Was that 2 years ago? To your point, Joe Flacco feel good. He threw back-to-back pick sixes, and then we wasn't feeling good no more. I think you could, if you're someone who's like, yeah, I don't want the results to taint the decision process. I want to trust the people that are doing. Like, you can make a great argument for Andrew Berry having done a good job, especially if you are going to take the Deshaun Watson decision off his jacket, which I think we all have already taken that off. Like, we put that on the owner. Like, the roster that they've been able to continue to put together has been pretty good one. And so, like, I guess I get your point. Based on the results, normally we move on from these guys. But based on the process, again, if we can get off the Deshaun Watson thing and say that's not on them, which is combined with moving on from Baker and having Baker play through injury and not accepting that there should be some discount rate on the way that we grade him, like, that ain't on them, then they doing a good job.
I know, but it's amazing that they are. That's all I'm saying. Like, I want to know the conversation that everybody, like, how down does everybody around have to be on the Deshaun Watson decision that the people ain't clamoring in that way? Or maybe they are, because it's Cleveland and they ain't even got cookies at the DoubleTree, man. They be salty as hell all the time. I'm going to say that every time, just so everybody understands. They ain't got no, man, like, Cleveland, the brief moment I was there was like, Baltimore, just not as charming.
Baltimore got some charm, man.
It does.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I'm
yeah,
saying. But what if you take the charm
yeah,
out?
yeah. That's fair.
Charm City, my ass. Like y'all think that's what y'all. That's what we call Cleveland, Charmless City.
That's when when I had to defend Baltimore on the East Coast, I try to remind people that Baltimore's not an East Coast city. It's a Midwest city that happens to be on the East Coast. Like
Yes.
it's a Rust Belt ass town, baby. So like, don't compare us to DC, Philly, and New York. Those are different types of cities. We are fancy Cleveland. We off the hook Pittsburgh. That's yeah. We are fly ass Detroit. Like
Yeah.
that's us, man. But we not a low budget DC because we're not going for that. Not
No,
even our
no.
aim.
The first time you said that, I was like, oh, okay. This makes sense. But with Shador, it's look, I'll tell you again, one day he's going to play. There's just no way around it because, like, Dillion Gabriel, man, I saw him out there in the game, and it looked like when they let there's a little homie going through it, and they let him get a touchdown at the spring game, that's how he looked out there.
And they put my man, he gonna make his first career start in Europe against Brian Flores, crazy ass defense.
Yo, he gonna be standing on his tippy toes looking at calculus.
That's right. I forgot he 5'10", right?
Yeah, and he's like the littlest left-hander.
I hope that they got some design QB runs in there, man. Just you got to, because that's the thing is there's no soft spot. So I agree that like trying to look for a bad team to start your quarterback is probably a bad idea. But there are teams that are good, but kind of stagnant and stationary. You know, like we do what we do, we good. Brian Flores' team is good and confusing as shit.
It's gotta be fun to be somebody like Brian Flores and you have the opportunity to do this, right? Like, I've talked about this that year that Ohio State won the national championship in 2014. They lost one game that year,
Mhm.
and it was JT Barrett in his second start against a Bud Foster defense. And you knew, but I have watched with my own eyes from the sideline Bud Foster against somebody who had never done this before. And you could tell he was loving every minute of it. Like, watch what I do now. Watch what I do now. Right? He out there, and again, it's a little dude. Watch this.
Yeah,
Watch this.
tough. And from week to week, the film can only help you so much. Brian Flores defense because he recognizes it's a level of intelligence on defensive players that we don't quite extend to them, but it requires it, and it's the it's like the third, fourth order of it is whereas you're thinking this because I'm doing that. I know you're thinking this, so I'm gonna do that, which is based on what I did last week and the week prior to that. Like when you watch the Vikings defense from week to week to week, you recognize that he knows that you watching film. And he knows that his tell is this. So he knows that when you see this, you're gonna think that. Then he goes the next level. It's the chess shit that we appreciate about quarterbacks that we don't talk about defenders.
He's the one of those Belichick guys who's been able
Mhm.
to take that,
Fair point. Yeah.
right? Like to be that super adaptable. You don't know what's coming. And I think it may be in part because
Yep.
don't tell nobody I said this, but maybe this is the level that he's supposed to be at, right? The supreme defensive coordinator where you just let him have the whole defense, like
Mhm.
like a Fangio type guy. Honestly, perhaps Bill Belichick without a Tom Brady.
Some might argue. Yeah, that's fair. Well, we got to get that man to Tom Brady there.
Yeah, just there we go. We'll just go get. You're right.
They just make 'em.
We'll just go get him one of those.